Hello, dear students. Today we are going to discuss about Unit 1 of our subject Medicinal Chemistry BP 501T. As we have discussed previously about antidiabetic agents, today we are starting about Unit 1 Histamines and antihistaminic drugs. So let us start with histamine. Histamine and histaminic receptors and their distribution in our body that we are going to discuss in this lecture. So, what is the histamine? Histamine is basically a amine. Histamine is an amine and it contains a heterocyclic nucleus. Heterocyclic nucleus, it is imidazole nucleus. As we know, the structure here in on this slide about histamine, that histamine is a beta imidazoles ethyl amine. So what do you mean by here beta imidazoles ethyl amine? Look at here. As we know, the ethyl amine, there is CH3, CH2, NH2. Look at here, the CH2, NH2. So the ethyl group, the one hydrogen is replaced by imidazole nucleus. Imidazole nucleus, that is 1,3 imidazole nucleus. Azole is the 5-member ring. There is a 5-member heterocyclic nucleus in front of you. And if the 2 nitrogen atoms are present into the cyclic nucleus or 5 atom containing cyclic or aromatic nucleus at 1,3 position, then the heterocyclic nucleus that is formed is called as imidazole nucleus. So 1,3 imidazole nucleus. So this imidazole nucleus that is present at the beta position of amino groups in the ethylamine. That's why its name is given beta imidazolyl ethylamine. So as we know, it's a amine, so definitely its property would be basic in nature. Because amino group is present, so it would be the basic in nature. Why? Because of, look at here in the structure, that two nitrogen functionals are present here. One, there is primary amine that is present into the as a ethylamine, 1-degree amine, and 2 nitrogen atoms that are present into the imidazoles as a 1 and 3 position. So that is called as imidazolyl amine. So especially one is the 2-degree amine. We can say both are the 2-degree amines that is present into the imidazole nucleus. So they are basic in nature because of side chain amino group. Side chain amino group means ethyl amino groups, and ethyl amino groups having a pK value of 9.7. As we know, dear students, that pK value that is logarithm and negative logarithm of Ka value, that is dissociation constant. So when any pK value would be the higher, then basicity would be the more, as we know. So here the primary amine having higher pK value 9.7, then it means the primary amine that is present in the side chain ethyl amine group that have higher pK value, it means more basic. Similarly, another imidazole amino group, I have told you 2 nitrogen atoms present in imidazole group. So imidazole amino group, amine group that have lower pK value as compared to the side chain amino group, but it has 5.9 amine pK value. So it means both amino groups that are present over here, one the primary amino group that shows the more basicity as compared to the imidazole nucleus. Imidazole, it's also can say comparatively it's a basic in nature, but not more than that of primary amine or ethyl amine. So due to the presence of both amino groups, histamine is the basic in nature. As we know, this histamine that is present in our body, and especially it is present in our mast cells of granules of the mast cells of our body. Mast cells, dear students, you know the mast cells that are present especially in our body or in the blood, and the mast cells that is present almost blood as well as every tissue of our body, and these mast cells are responsible for, you can say, local protection, and that's why only the mast cell secretes histamine, and histamine is also known as the autocoids. Autocoids means local hormones. Just like local hormones, you know, hormones, that is any substance that is secreted by any glands without duct. Similarly, mast cells secretes their secretions without duct, because their secretion directly come into the blood and reach into the systemic circulation. So that's why they are called as local hormones or autocoids. And these histamines, they are responsible for our local defense. Local defense, I think you understood, that is in the local area, in the particular area, if it is any infections due to the any any foreign particle in our body, if our body is found in particular area, then these histamines will be secreted and they act as a local defense. So at our body pH means blood pH, that is the 7.4 pH. Okay, so that is the body pH, 7.4 pH. The histamine that are present into the univalent cation. Univalent cation means the amino group because of the basic in nature, and amino group accept the proton from blood or from fluid or water that is present in our body. So that is why it is called as basic in nature, and it would be present as a univalent cation. Another histamines that I have discussed with you, the histamines, they are present mostly within the storage granules of mast cells in our body. So the mast cells, in the granules of mast cells, these histamines, they are present, and they are responsible for, you can say, local defense system. Now we are discussing about the histamine that are present in our stored in our body, in the mast cell especially, and also they are synthesized locally, means in the mast cells they are synthesized from amino acids that we are using, that is called as histidine. Histidine is a amino acids, and by which, due to the decarboxylation reaction or decarboxylase enzyme, it is responsible for the decarboxylation, and decarboxylation only this histamine is synthesized in our body by the histidine. So that is about histamine, chemistry of the chemistry of histamine, and that are responsible for our local defense, and they are called as the autocoids. Now, histamine receptors. Histaminic receptors or histamine receptors means receptors on which the histamines may bind and exert their action in our body and perform their routine functions or routine action in our body. So the classifications of histamine that is present in our body, that were first classified into category as a H1 histamines, H1 histaminic receptor or H2 histaminic receptor by Ursh and Shield in 1966. But after then, the third histaminic receptor, that is H3 receptors, were also discovered, and it was you can say discovered by Orang scientists in 1987, and these H3 receptors, they are present in our brain, and especially they are responsible for secretions of the, or you can say histamine controlling hormone from our brain. So you can say these H3 receptors, they are basically responsible for controlling the histamine concentrations in our body, and they are present in our brain. So especially you can say mainly there are the two types of receptors, H1 histaminic receptors and H2 histaminic receptors, that are present in our body or peripheral part of the body. Okay, and perform and histamine bind on these types of receptors and exert their action. I hope you will be understood. You might be able to get my point. Is that the histaminic receptors, they are they can classified into three category: H1 receptor, H2 receptor, and H3 receptors. But H3 receptors, they are abundantly they are present in the brain, and they are responsible for secretions of, you can say histamine release controlling hormone or chemicals. So they are the autoreceptors that is present in our, you can say, brain. So now we are discussing about in detail about these histamine receptors. Histamine receptors, they are classified in three category: H1, H2, and H3 receptors. So the type of the receptors, as we know, receptors are basically, they are protein in nature. So the protein, and these receptors, number of the receptors, they are present in our body. Similarly, histaminic receptors also, they are present in throughout the body. So, and also depending on their type or nature of protein and type of the receptor, we can classify them in different category. So now we are discussing the type of receptor. So all these three histaminic receptors, H1, H2, H3, means histaminic receptors, they are mainly G protein coupled receptors. G protein coupled receptors, and the all are the basically G protein coupled receptor on which the histamine may bind and exert their action. Now, effectory pathway, because of they are G protein coupled receptors, so how the histamine may exert their action, especially bind with these receptors. So they are nature or type of the receptors, they all are in nature are the same, but their effecting pathway, means action pathway for the histamine would be the differ. in for both or for all three receptors. First H1 receptors, their action would be via IP3 dark pathway. IP3 by dark pathway, in what happen in IP3 dark pathway, the calcium ions will release. Calcium ion will release intracellularly, and we know the calcium ion are responsible for the especially the contractions of any cells, any receptors present in our body. So they are responsible for protein kinase C activations, protein kinase chain activations. So the protein kinase will be activated, and that's why they will exert their action. Histamine will bind with the H1 receptor, and IP3 dark, through the IP3 dark pathway, they release the calcium ions. Histamine release the calcium ions, and these calcium ions are responsible for contractions of the cells. Over here these H1 receptors are present and contractions may take place. Okay. Another S2 receptors. S2 receptors, again there is a G protein coupled receptor, and in which what happen, adenyl cyclase activators. So pathway is adenyl cyclase activators, in which what happen, cyclic AMP will be released. So the concentration of cyclic AMP will increase, and that's why only that is what happen, the phosphorylation of the protein takes place. And as we know that when the phosphorylation of the protein takes place, then protein will be activated and we can say exert their action. So similarly, when the histamines, they bind with the S2 receptors and exert the phosphorylations of the protein by increasing the cyclic AMP. Another third one, there is restricting calcium ion influx. Calcium ion influx means what happen, potassium channel activation, and the potassium channel activation, what happen, cyclic AMP will decrease, and the cyclic AMP decrease but potassium channel get activated. So what happen in our brain, especially the release of the, you can say histaminic hormones, or you can say chemicals that is secreted throughout the body, that is can say act on the brain. So these are the receptors and types of receptors. Now we are discussing about the distributions of these receptors in our body and actions they are exerting or mediated. The H1 receptors, they are present into the smooth muscles that may be either in intestine, trachea and uterus. Intestine, that is present in our alimentary canal. Trachea, that is present in our respiratory tract system, and uterus, that is present in female genital organs. So in both, at both places, these receptors, they are present because of in the both in all intestine, trachea and uterus, there are the smooth muscles are there, and the smooth muscles, they are responsible for contraction and relaxations and exert their action. That's why these histamine mainly, they are responsible for the contractions of these organs. H1 receptors are also present in the blood vessels, and here the H1 receptors are present. So histamines bind with the H1 receptors in our blood vessels and exert dilations. Dilations means our blood vessels will get dilated. So you know, blood pressure will get relax. So blood pressure will be lower, BP will be lower because of the relaxations of blood vessels, especially on the arteries. Another affected nerve endings, afferent nerve endings, afferent nerve endings, because that mean of that the nervous system, or you can say neurons that is present in our body, and two neurons fuse together and form a synaptic vesicles, and where also that where the acetylcholine get released and exert their actions. Similarly, histamine also may release from the mast cells of the nervous tissue, neurons, and where these histamines also can bind with the nerve endings and the receptors, H1 receptors that is present over the nerve ending, and get H1, you can say, stimulate the nerve endings for transmission of impulses. Similarly, like acetylcholine. Another organ, that is ganglionic cells. Ganglionic cells, that is again the ganglionic cells are present into the nerve endings or nerve cells, and we know, and the nerve cells also this similar action it is exerted, that is stimulations. Then another, the adrenal medulla, the adrenal gland. Adrenal gland is having two parts, adrenal medulla and adrenal cortex. So the medulla part is responsible for release of catecholamines, and catecholamines, there is adrenaline, noradrenaline, that are responsible for transmissions of impulses at the nerve ending that I have discussed previously. So these histamines, they bind with the adrenal medulla and enhance the release of catecholamines. And another and last organ, that is brain. So in the brain, histamine bind with the histaminic H1 receptor and act as a transmitter, means nerve, you can say impulse transmissions. So as a transmitter, it acts as a transmitter in the brain. So this is about the H1 receptor. Now the H2 receptors, histaminic 2 receptor, histaminic H2 receptors, they are present in the gastric glands. Importantly, abundantly they are present in the gastric glands. Gastric glands means in our stomach, and gastric glands, we know, they are responsible for acid secretions, HCl secretions, parietal cells especially. So the gastric juice is secreted by the gastric glands in the stomach. So they enhance the gastric juice. The histamine bind with the H2 receptors into the stomach and enhance the acid secretions. Okay, so it is responsible for HCl secretions or gastric juice secretion. That's why the digestions of the food may take place in our stomach. Another, so especially this H2 receptors, they are present in the gastric glands or in stomach, but not other receptors like H1 or H3 will not be present there. Only H2 receptors are present into the gastric glands or in the stomach. It's very remember, students, because of H2 receptors are present into the gastric glands, or you can say in stomach, not others. H1 and H3 receptors are not present, only H2 receptors are present into the gastric glands or stomach, or you can say stomach, and that is responsible for the secretions of acid, hydrochloric acid or gastric juice. Another, the blood vessels. Similarly, like H1 receptors, H2 receptors also present into the blood vessels, and it is responsible for same action, dilations. In the heart, similarly, also the H2 receptors, they are present in the heart also. Because of H1 and H2 receptors, they are also not present in the heart. So H2 receptors, H1, H3, which is not present in the heart, only H2 receptors are present in the heart, and it is responsible for again contractions of the heart, or is increased, it enhance the pumping of the heart. Okay. Another organ, that is uterus. So as you know, in uterus H1 receptors is present and H2 receptors also are present in the uterus, and H1 receptors are responsible for the contractions, but here in H2 receptors in the uterus, look at here, responsible for the relaxation. So H1 receptors are responsible for the contraction in the uterus by binding with the smooth muscles, and in the uterus H2 receptors also present. They are responsible for dilation, relaxations or dilations, relaxations of the uterus. So opposite actions, H1 receptor shows different action and H2 receptor shows exert different actions. So histamine, if bind on the H1 receptors in uterus, then it will contract it, as well as when the H2 histamine bind with the H2 receptors in the uterus, and then it will be relax it. Okay, so the both are opposite actions. Both receptors shows means single means only H1 receptors when bind with the histamine bind with the H1 receptors, then what happen? Uterus will be constrict, and when histamine bind with the H2 receptors, then uterus will be dilate or relax. And lastly, the H2 receptors that are present into the brain, and similarly like H1 receptors, action exerted here, that is transmitters. Okay, similar like H1 receptors. Similarly, H2 receptors are present in the brain and action exert their same actions. And lastly, we are discussing about the distributions of the H3 receptors in our body. They are present mainly in the brain, that I have told you. Mainly they are present in the brain and responsible for the sedation. Sedation means you can say become relaxed. They make our brain get relaxed, and we feel sleep. So another organs where S3 receptors may present: lungs, then spleen, skin, gastric mucosa. I am again repeating: lungs, spleen, skin, gastric mucosa, where these receptors are responsible for decreasing the histamine content or histamine level at there. So they decrease the histamine level. So because I have told you the S3 receptors are they exert their opposite actions of H1 and H2. They control the H1 and H2 action. So they lower down the histamine content, histamine concentrations. Another, the ileum and trachea. As ileum and trachea, it is responsible for the contractions. As we know, we have discussed in previously the H1 receptors, they are present in the smooth muscles like trachea. Similarly here, S3 receptors are also present in the ileum and trachea, and they exert the contractions just similar like H1 receptor action. So S3 receptors and H1 receptors both are present into the trachea and responsible for the contractions. Trachea, that is present in our respiratory tract. And lastly, the blood vessels. And in the blood vessels, it exerts all three: H1, S2, S3 receptors. They are present in the blood vessels and they are responsible for dilations. So they exert similar actions in case of blood vessels. So finally, dear students, I want to conclude the things that abundantly, you can say H1 receptors, they are present in the smooth muscles. S2 receptors, they are present in the gastric glands, or you can say in stomach, and they are responsible for secretions of gastric juice. S2 receptors. And S3 receptors, they are present mainly in the brain. So look, finally you have to remember it, that H1 receptors mainly present on the smooth muscles like uterus, like trachea, and like intestine. H1 receptors, trachea, uterus and intestine. S2 receptors, they are present into the stomach, into the gastric glands, and brain. S3 receptors, they are finally present into the brain. So mostly, abundantly, these receptors, they are present at that place. Okay, so that's all in this topic, that is about the histamine. there is one topic of your this unit that we have covered about the histamine, histaminic receptors and their distributions in our body. And the next class we will discuss about the antihistaminic drugs. Okay, and we will discuss antihistaminic drugs into the two category. You can say H1 blockers, and H2 blocker or H2 inhibitors, because histaminic H1 is histaminic and H2 histaminic receptors are there. So drugs which can inhibit both types of receptor we will discuss in that category: H1 receptor inhibitor and H2 inhibitor antihistaminics. So now thank you very much. We will discuss in next class. Thank you very much.